Right, hello guys, and welcome back to the Darts with Jack podcast. This is episode 2. It is your number one podcast for all things darts related, and just general darting news. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 major points, one of which is the Premier League Night 2 in Berlin, the second of which is the Masters just gone, and the third one is the current Pro Tours, and I'm also going to talk about the UK Open Qualifiers. So please follow if you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple Podcasts, follow, and if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and leave any comments. So yeah, let's get into the first part of the video, which is going to be the Premier League Night 2 in Berlin. So, it was the Berlin night in the Premier League, and it was Van Gerwen who got the eventual win over Littler in the final, but let's talk about the road to it. So, Van Gerwen beat Aspinall 6-4. Aspinall rushed into an early lead and just couldn't get the darts when he needed them. Michael Smith beat Gerwen Price 6-5 in a repeat of last week's final. Very good for Smith. You know, he took it in the last leg decider. Littler v Cross, another 6-5 win for Littler. I mean, I don't even know what more I can say on Littler at the moment. He's just incredible, really. I mean, for an 18-year-old to be doing what he's doing is just crazy. So he's not even 18, he's 17. Right, Humphreys. Wright was playing some exceptional darts to start with, and I was so happy that he got back to, you know, what looked like a previous bit of strong form for him. The funny thing was, I think it was it Wayne Mardle who pointed it? One of the commentators pointed it out. He was using Michael Van Gerwen darts painted really badly in blue. And I saw someone on Twitter, I'm really sorry, I can't remember the tweet, but if it's you, feel free to comment, tweet that it looked like those Gary Anderson darts that are always at Sports Direct, and I just couldn't relate more. I just found it so funny. And in the semi-finals, it was Van Gerwen 6, Michael Smith 1. Van Gerwen rushed, I think it was Van Gerwen took an early lead, Smith took it back, and then Van Gerwen came back again and won the... Well, let me just check that. So, I cannot remember, my thing is gone. Let's see. Let's get my... Sorry, I know you can't see this. I'm just getting my leg by leg up. Okay, but it was 3-1-80s for Smith, 6 for Van Gerwen, and his average was just 107 in the end, which is ridiculous. Smith's 98 is still a very good average, you know. And, yeah, I mean, not even like he could do anything. Right, here's my leg by leg. Yes, so it was 4-1 to Van Gerwen, 5-4 to Smith, and 6-5. Van Gerwen just played very well in the last couple of legs, and that won that game for him. In the other semi-final, it was a repeat of last week's quarter-final, I think it was, and obviously the World Championship final. It's the game and the 2 players that everyone's been talking about. It has been Littler versus Humphreys. And yeah, you know, Littler hit 5 treble 18s in 6 starts to really turn that final leg around, and it left himself double 10, and he took it. Right, and in the final, obviously Van Gerwen Littler, another 6-5 win for Van Gerwen. I'm just going to get my leg by leg up here for Littler MVG. So it went to a last leg decider, obviously, and if I remember, yes, in the last leg decider, Littler missed darts. He missed 2 darts for the win, and that cost him the night, you know. And Van Gerwen obviously came, took it, and won with an excellent dart on double 4 to take it. So that was the Premier League Night 1. I'll just get you some stats from that final. So, for the final, it was 4 180s to 2 for Van Gerwen, 11 140s to 8, 23 to 23 100s, checkouts 6 out of 15 and 5 out of 13, so only 1.54% in that. Littler with the highest checkout of 94, and Van Gerwen with about a point more average. A very tight game, as you can see. Now, that was the record number of legs in a Premier League night in this format, as only 2 legs weren't played in terms of, I think, can't remember what the maximum was, but yeah, so 6-4, 6-5, 6-5, 6-4, 6-5, 6-5, 6-5, meant that only 2 legs weren't played, which is incredible. The Boleyn got an absolute treat. However, the Boleyn crowd were dead, man. Obviously it's so much better than the awful whistling that has dominated darts over the last couple of weeks. But yeah, what was happening with the Boleyn crowd? They're usually one of the loudest, and they just weren't it. They weren't really supporting anyone really in particular. They're behind Littler, obviously. But yeah, the Boleyn crowd were not good, and it kind of hindered the night, especially as they got such an amazing night of darts. In my poll in the last episode showed that most of you were not happy with the Premier League format. But when you get a format such as that and you play so many legs, there is no way you cannot argue that format is so good for darts. Obviously, I know people hate it. Frankly, I've never been. I really want to go. But yeah, that was the Premier League Night 1. Before I go on to the Masters and a certain Stephen Bunting, I'm just going to talk about the Dutch Open singles or Dutch Open Classic. And I'm just going to talk about some WDF stuff. Right, so in the WDF, in the Dutch Open Classic or singles, I'm really sorry, I can't remember which one, there was the final of the women's, which was Bo Greaves versus Eileen de Graaf. Bo Greaves was left on 105 for the match, and as she threw the first dart, it landed high in the 20, but there was this amount of whistling, and it was horrible, and it put her off. And it was just so horrible to watch, our game getting ruined. And the referee stepped in and was like, right, I think he said to stewards, can you find the person who's whistling and get them out, please? And it was a really monumental moment to see that happen, as that doesn't happen in the PDC. We need the PDC now to step up their game and to be getting that happening so the whistling can be removed. Right, now we're going to talk about the Masters tournament, non-ranking, but a major, and I think it's fair to say, we all went bunting mental. Right. The whole story of the Masters weekend was when, after the tournament, one of the most trending hashtags in the UK on Twitter was #Let'sGoBuntingMental. And there is no other way to describe that, because I think we all went bunting mental. There were so many funny photos of how everyone in the UK went bunting mental. And it's because Stephen Bunting was in his first PDC major final and won it in an amazing Masters tournament for him. I don't know I know you can't see the screen in front of me, but I've just got 4 of the 5 games which Bunting played with all my stats, so I can talk about it. I'm going to post it on my Twitter, which is @thedartskid180, just to show you the setup, because it's scary. Right, here we go. In the first round, Stephen Bunting beat Ross Smith 6-5, 5 180s, highest checkout 96. Very tight game, obviously won the last leg decider. Sorry, just having a drink. And then beat Luke Humphreys 10-7, which is a massive shock. He hit less 180s, less 140s, just one more 100 plus, but his checkouts were 45% and the highest checkout of 146. Round 3, he faced Peter Wright, throwing 3 180s, 15 140s, 32 100s, 47.62 on the checkouts, and a higher checkout of 122. And in the semi-final, I believe, he beat Nathan Aspinall, he beat Nathan Aspinall 11-1 in an absolutely monumental victory. 2 180s, 13 140s, 29 100 plus, 100 plus scores, 52% on checkouts, 118 was his highest checkout. We'll see if I can get some more stats, because I want to know how he just hit so many 100 plus checkouts in this whole tournament. Genuinely, he was unplayable. There's no doubt about it. He deserved to win. Everyone wanted him to win from the start, and he did. Right, here is the Van Gerwen game in the final, where he won 11-7. He averaged 4 points higher than Van Gerwen on a 102. Highest checkout of 88 in the final, 55% on the checkouts for him. This is what Flash Score's telling me. Did he not hit 100 plus checkout in the final? Oh, maybe it was just, that semi-final was incredible. There's no doubt about it. World number 16 for Stephen Bunting. But yeah, it was a monumental win. and he got so emotional after saying he'd never cry on stage again after the Raven van Barneveld incident. And his son came on. Van Gogh congratulated him and his son, and it was a monumental victory for Stephen Bunting. He genuinely just seems one of the nicest guys on earth. I've never met him. I'd love to, though. He worked at the St. Helens Dart Shop, which is where I get all my dart stuff from. And yeah, he just seems such a nice guy on all his interviews. And he deserves it, And I really hope this is going to be the year of going Bunting mental for us. And yeah, it was just an absolutely incredible tournament for him. I look forward to seeing how he gets on in the Pro Tours this few coming weeks and in the long-term events of this year. Right, talking about the Pro Tours, let's discuss the first Pro Tours of the new year. Right, so we have Players' Championship 1 on the 12th of February, which is in Robin Park Tennis Centre. Players' Championship 2 is on the 13th of Feb at Robin Park Tennis Centre, both in Wigan, and the European Tour 1 and 2 tour card holder qualifiers, and on the day after, on the 14th of Feb, at the Robin Park Tennis Centre in Wigan. So, it's the Pro Tour begins, and they're on a Monday. I think if I remember seeing it rightly, a lot of the Pro Tours this year have been moved to a Monday and a Tuesday. It's just not a popular decision for me. I just don't get why they would do it. For young people coming into darts, the ability to watch darts on the weekend if you have a PDC TV subscription, and it's not that expensive. I think it's $4.99 a month. To not be able to watch that often, they'll be able to watch the final and semi-final, but to not be able to watch it often is a killer blow for dart. And for some players who have full-time or part-time jobs, it's a massive hindrance to them. And I reckon we'll see the amount of people pulling out, probably in the later Players' Championships, I reckon we'll see the players pulling out quite heavily. Now, my predictions for Players' Championship 1 and 2. I reckon we will get one winner from the top 12 in the world. And I reckon we'll get one winner outside of the top 12. I think Michael Van Gerwen pulled out. Adrian Lewis obviously has pulled out, but he hasn't handed his tour card in. A massive £750,000 has been invested in the Players' Championship prize funds for 2024, which is massive. And yeah, it's going to be good to see who comes out of the blocks really strong at the Players' Championships this season. Now, I'm going to talk about the bit of news that was released today. I don't know if it's shock. But the UK Open starts at Butlins Minehead from March 1st to the 3rd. £600,000 in the event. 16 Riley's amateur qualifiers. Obviously, the big one being Ashley Coleman, who has signed for a big popular darts company. I'm just going to check. I'm pretty sure it was Unicorn, but I do not want to get that wrong. Let's see. Sorry, ignore the typing. Ashley Coleman. Who did he sign for? I think it was Unicorn. I'm just going to go off my original thoughts. Yeah, it was Unicorn. Right, so Ashley Coleman has signed for Unicorn Darts and has won the Riley's Amateur Qualifier, which means that he goes through to the European Tour? No, the UK Open. Now, the 2023 Women's Challenge Tour qualifiers are John Henderson, Andy Bolton, Christian Kist, Wesley Placier, Darryl Pilgrim, Scott Mitchell, Conan Whitehead, and Ron Molenkamp. Sorry if I butchered any of the surnames. And the Development Tour qualifiers were Sebastian Bielecki, Rusty Jake Rodriguez, Bradley Brooks, who's recently just signed to Shot, Cam Crabtree, Jared Cole, Bradley Rose, Christopher Tunders, and Dominic Grulich. So I'll be looking forward to seeing players, especially like Bradley Brooks, Rusty Jake Rodriguez, John Henderson. It'd be great to see him back at the UK Open. And Ashley Coleman, obviously, they're going to be some of my lookouts for the qualifiers. Connor Scott also made it through the Riley's Amateur Qualifiers. Right, so that is it for today's podcast. It's the 9th of February 2024, and it's episode 2 of the Ducks with Jack podcast. I really hope you enjoy it. I'm going to leave a question box on Spotify and probably on YouTube in my community section on what you'd like to see on the podcast next. And please just leave any honest feedback. I don't care. If there's any questions you have to ask, please just put them in there. And I will hopefully answer them or listen to your feedback and incorporate that into the next few podcasts. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.